What's going on, Ravens fans? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. It's been about 24 hours since Jesse Minter has been announced as your newest head coach. So I thought on tonight's show, we talk about 5 free agents from the Los Angeles Chargers that I could realistically see making that cross-country trip from the Golden State to the Charm City with your new head honcho. Minter's coming, baby. And what else is coming is some fresh new merch right to your doorstep. If you go to chatsports.com/Minter, you could get this Minter is Coming hoodie for $44.99. Say you just want the t-shirt. Guess what? We got that too. Chatsports.com/Minter. That link is in the comments and description of today's video. Or if you want them both, guess what? We got a deal for that. Get both of them, save $10. Chatsports.com/Minter. If you are pumped up about this hire and you want to show it off to all your friends, all your family on the streets, well, that link's in the comments, description of today's video. Click on it. Be the first to the flock to get this new merch right now. That's the benefit about hiring a coach that is so well liked by his players that a lot of times when they hit free agency for the teams they just played on with him, there's a decent chance they want to follow him to wherever he goes next, especially when they play on the same side of the ball that he coaches. So the first couple of targets that we're going to be discussing and talking about today are on the defensive side of the ball, and the first one is a very, very familiar name and face, of course. I'm talking about Odafe Oweh, a guy who started the 2025 season in Baltimore, edge rusher, projected to make somewhere around $19 to $20 million a year. Like, this is hilarious, if we're being 100% honest about it, because when Odafe Oweh got traded and you got back a Louis Gilman and a better draft pick, I honestly said, look, I think this is a good move. Because at the time when you dealt him, let's be real, Odafe Oweh was not doing anything. But I've kind of started to realize, like, okay, maybe this is a scheme and defensive coordinator issue over a player issue. Because the second he got in Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, he was actually unbelievable. 7.5 sacks in 12 regular season games. He went from 1 tackle for loss to 8 tackles for loss. Mind you, he did not have a single sack in his 5 games played with the Ravens in 2025. Then he goes to the playoffs. He sacked Drake May 3 times, setting a single game playoff record for the Chargers, also forces a fumble. The only thing I'm curious about when it comes to Odafe Oweh is, like, were there any bridges burned between him and this front office? Like, how does he feel about Eric DeCosta kind of just shipping him away out of nowhere in the middle of the night? I could see him harboring a little bit of resentment and being like, look, I don't want to go play in Baltimore. But if I were Odafe Oweh, I think I would just straight up say, I don't want to play for Zach Orr. And that's the thing, is if he stays in Los Angeles, he might have to do that again, because Adam Schefter tweeted out earlier this morning, the Chargers have requested Ravens defensive coordinator Zach Orr to interview for their vacant D.C. job. So Zach Orr could just go replace Jesse Minter, just jump from hardball to hardball, and poor Odafe Oweh, man. He escaped Zach Orr, had an unreal rest of his season, and then Zach Orr's just going to find him again. Well, not if he comes to Baltimore and follows Jesse Minter. Would Oweh want to be a Raven, though? That's the big question here, because I feel like Minter would want him back. You give me a yes or no down below in the comment section. Weigh in with your answer. While we're talking one edge rushers, let's talk about another one. How about Khalil Mack? He made $17 million a year, or his 1-year deal with the Los Angeles Chargers this last year. You just got to think another year older, probably going to go down a little bit in what he'd make, but I still could see him anywhere from 16 to 18 million. And look, I get it. Khalil Mack has been playing football for a very, very long time. Y'all know when Khalil Mack got drafted? Could either one of you guys tell me by in there? 2012? Yeah, I was still in middle school. Well in middle school when Khalil Mack got drafted. So he's been in the league for a little bit, but he's still a baller, man. He's still a havoc causer. He's still a game wrecker. He could still get to the quarterback on a consistent basis. But then you got the Draymond Jones thing to talk about, to wonder about, because he's going to be a free agent as well. And do you just re-sign Draymond Jones? I mean, he is younger. There's a decent chance he might be a little bit cheaper as well. He did pretty solid even for Zach Orr in his small time in Baltimore. So you can imagine, man, you pair him up with Jesse Minter, that could be something really, really dangerous. You got to do something in the edge room, man. Free agency, draft, probably both. Because right now on the roster, you have Mike Green, Adisa Isaac, and Tavius Robinson. Okay? David Ajabo, Kyle Van Noy, Draymond Jones. All three of those guys are free agents. So you got a rookie, a guy who got drafted in 2024, but basically has played as many snaps for the Ravens as I have, and then Tavius Robinson, who's a really awesome player. Okay? Speaking of Mike Green, though, like, I would not be surprised if Jesse Minter has an Odafe Oweh type effect on number 45, who had a little bit of a frustrating rookie season, but I think that's going to change big time with Minter in the building. I expect him to take a massive jump. A lot of people do anyway from year 1 to year 2, but especially when you're having so much of an upgrade in the coaching department. Let's talk offense for a second. How about Keenan Allen? Wide receiver. Projected to probably be around $11 million a year. Had a nice little reunion tour in Los Angeles after having a season in Chicago. In 2024, that really did not go how he or a lot of people thought that it would. And look, Keenan Allen is kind of in the same ballpark as Khalil Mack, as a guy who's been in the league for a very, very long time, but still operates at a really high level. I mean, he had more yards than Rashad Bateman did this year, times 2. 777, 4 touchdowns. Last year, 744 for Chicago. Year before that, 2023, 108 catches in 13 games, 1,200 yards, ladies and gentlemen. Like, Keenan Allen could still go out there, and with Lamar Jackson in this Ravens offense, I would not be surprised if he came over in 2026 and got you somewhere close to 800 yards. I'd take that any day of the week. This wide receiver room is interesting, man. There's a lot to be figured out in 2025 because you got Zay Flowers. The big question mark around him is he a wide receiver 1? I think he answered that, or at least he answered that in my opinion this last year. I don't think so. I think he's a really great, probably the best wide receiver 2 in the league. But I don't think he's a 1. DeAndre Hopkins is a free agent. Don't know what you're going to do there. Rashad Bateman sucks. Worst $12 million extension or contract you've ever seen. Devontae Walker, for some reason, just doesn't play. I love him. He's exciting when he's out there, but he's not out there a lot. And then Wallace and Wester, they're just kind of non-factors. Oh, almost sneezed. Thought I held it in. Be honest with me. What's the % chance Keenan Allen will be a Raven? Scale it for me, 1 to 100 down below in the comments section. If you're thinking 100, you're saying like it's a guarantee. Let me know where you sit in that scale. Let's keep it on the offensive side of the football. How about Trevor Penning? Offensive guard. Got originally drafted as a tackle to the New Orleans Saints. Has bounced around. He's going to cost you somewhere around $2.5 million a year. Honestly, maybe even less than that. And this one I am not too sure about. Like every guy that we've talked about so far, I would love if they followed Minter all the way to Baltimore. Trevor Penning, I don't necessarily share that same sentiment. Like, he kind of sucks. Like, let's just be real about it. He is not a great football player. He was a first-round pick coming out of college, had a lot of excitement surrounding him, and he just has not lived up to the hype. Maybe they thought flexing him inside to guard from tackle would change it, would fix things, but it hasn't. I get it. PFF grades, they're not gospel. They're not going to tell you everything about a player. Look at the tape, overlooking at PFF, but they're at least a useful tool to at least hold discussion about. And his grades look like Daniel Fawley's. 53.5 overall, 52.5 pass blocking, 56.9 in the run blocking department, okay? I think the Ravens' offensive line plan is pretty obvious. They drafted Emory Jones Jr. pretty early in last year's draft. I believe it was the 3rd round, if I remember correctly. You saw him sparingly in 2025. I thought you should have seen him more. Regardless, he was recovering from a shoulder surgery, a shoulder injury. Anyway, I think the plan is for him to step up and be a starter next year. I think you draft offensive guard early in the draft, either the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd rounds, and then you just roll with those 2 guys going forward in 2026. But regardless, I don't think Fa'alele's on this team, which absolutely fires me up. Are you excited for no more Fa'alele? If you are, do one big favor, hit that thumbs up button and like today's video. The last guy we are going to discuss is a familiar face. How about Del'Shawn Phillips? He'd be the cheapest of all of these options at around $1.5 million, and that's because basically he's a special teamer, okay? Now, he is positionally a linebacker, and that's a room that this team needs a lot of depth in. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. Roquan Smith is still Roquan Smith, but he's kind of a Walmart version of what he used to be. Tatum Buchanan's going to be coming off an ACL surgery. We don't know if Trenton Simpson's going to be back on this roster in 2026. You need bodies. You need players. You had 2 UDFAs go down with massive injuries as well, and Jay Higgins and Chandler Morris. So I don't think they'd say no to this depth. And also, he's been in Baltimore. Played in Baltimore under McDonald, so we know he knows that McDonald system. Obviously, he played under Mentor in Los Angeles. Same system right there. Seems like he'd be a good fit, and you could always add, in your special teams. You're never going to be a complaint about that. Name one Los Angeles Charger free agent that you want in Baltimore, okay? Let me know your answer down below in the comments section. We're going to get out of here, but make sure you guys got me followed on social media, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on both platforms. Make sure also you guys are subscribed to the channel. And great plug right there at the end, Lopez. If you're still watching and you want to get yours today, chatsports.com/mentor, because Mentor is coming. We got the hoodies. We got the t-shirts. If you want $10 off, heck, get them both, ladies and gents. I know these things are going to be flying off the shelves. Probably not going to last long. That link is in the comments, description of today's video. Click it. Give it as a gift. Get it for yourself. Do whatever you want with it. Just make sure you are as dripped out as you can and are ready for the next era for the Baltimore Ravens.